Proverbs 24 verse 3, Amplified Classic. It says, through skillful and godly wisdom is a house, a life, a home, a family built, and by understanding it is established on a sound and good foundation. So through skillful and godly wisdom is a house, a life, a home, and a family built, and by understanding it is established on a sound and good foundation. And so I now understood that when it comes to God, anything that you're doing with God, God sees it as a building. Okay? God sees it as a building. So even marriage, God sees your marriage as a building. And he says that it is through skillful and godly wisdom. So not just head knowledge now, practical everyday tips are the things that God will give you that you can use to build your marriage. And so when I started thinking about marriage, I started thinking, okay, so if marriage is a building, there are certain things that you need to ask yourself when you want to build. And the first thing I asked myself is, what do I want to build? What kind of marriage do I want to build? And I'm asking you as well, what kind of marriage do you want to build? What kind of marriage do you want to have? And sometimes it's easier to make that decision when you're a single person. Okay? Not to say that when you're married you can't, but as a single person, before you even get into it, it's so much easier, because if you know what you want to build, then you will know who will build it with you. So, this takes me to the fact that there are three, something Pastor K always says, and it has really blessed me, that there are three kinds of marriage, okay? There's the cultural marriage, and that's the one that most of us, our parents, were into, okay? And the cultural marriage, in quotes, favors the man, where the man is authoritarian, okay? He's the Lord and master. What he says is law. He doesn't consider the other person, and he controls. It's a very controlling relationship, okay? Where the woman is, in fact, if the woman speaks up too much, she can get beaten. Abuse is normal in that kind of marriage. And you can't really do much about it. So I'll give you an example. For those of you who are Nigerian in the room, it's not uncommon to see a man beat his wife in Nigeria, am I right? You people are pretending. Did not tell me that that's what we're doing here. Okay, so let's just say, in Nigeria, do they used to beat their wife or not? They beat now. Why are you doing as if I came here with something that is not happening? And now the problem with that beating is that if you carry the matter to police, the police too just beat his wife, so he cannot help you. Okay, let's even assume that you got to court, and then you tell the judge that you want to divorce your husband because he's beating you. He has 3 wives at home that he's beating. So he's wondering what's wrong with this one. Did they not advise you before you came here? And of course, it will always favor the man, okay? That's how cultural marriage goes. And if he feels like it's not favoring him anymore, all he needs to do is call family meeting and return bride price. It's not that deep. And if he doesn't want to go through the stress of returning bride price, or he calls your family and says he wants to return bride price, and they say, this now we gave you your daughter, you just ignore all of you and go and take like 2 more wives. So he has options. The second kind of marriage is the contemporary marriage. And that marriage was a reaction to the cultural marriage. So women felt like we're being marginalized too much, okay? And women should have a voice. So contemporary marriage favors the woman. So that's the kind of marriage that we have mostly in the Western world, where if the man misbehaves, in fact, in cultural marriage, the man can threaten you with, I will divorce you. If in contemporary marriage, if the man says, I will divorce you, you say, oh, well, because that means that more than half of what you have is mine. And if you even annoy me, you sleep on the couch. The man is now the one who is being oppressed. So in cultural marriage, the woman is oppressed. In contemporary marriage, the man is oppressed. And in contemporary marriage, what also happens is the fact that if it's not working, it's not a case of man is returning bride price. No, the woman just goes and gets a divorce, or she gets an open marriage, or she doesn't even marry at all. She just has a living partner. When things not working, everybody finds their way, and we go away. And everybody's happy, no documents signed, and all of that. But there's a God kind of marriage, which I call the kingdom marriage. The kingdom marriage favors both parties. The kingdom marriage, the emphasis is not just on the woman. I see the thing about the contemporary and the cultural marriage is that to defend that kind of marriage, what they do is that they take just one scripture and run with it. So in the cultural marriage, the man knows no other scripture except the woman should submit. In the contemporary marriage, the woman knows no other scripture except we submit one to another, meaning that there's no head in this relationship. We are the same. But in a kingdom marriage, There's a way God has already planned these things to work. So let's go to Ephesians 5. We can start from verse 18 because I want to show you something. Now, in the cultural marriage, the man tries to control the woman by saying, oh, I'm the one that should have more money. I don't know if you've ever heard these stories, but I know a couple of families where the woman maybe was, okay, I'll even give you an example of my husband's family. So his mom was in the army, and she was rising in rank. And what would happen those days is that when even my parents, when they first got married, when they paid, the woman would take her salary to her husband, right? That was seen as the normal submission. Yes, so she would take her salary to them, and then he would now determine how to take this one. This is what you will now spend. And so, for instance, in my husband's family, his mom was rising in rank, and because she was the one giving her salary, she didn't know what her husband was earning. He insisted that she should leave the army. Simply because, now that we're thinking about it, it's not that that's the revelation they had, but children were naughty, so we think about it. But thinking about it now is because at the time she now started earning more than him at some point. And in cultural marriage, the one who holds the bag controls the marriage. So he knew that if this woman is any more than me, number one, and she's rising in rank. And remember, that was a military regime. It means that he can't talk to her anyhow. If he slaps her, she has to just call her oddly, and he will sleep in guard room. And my father-in-law, being a very smart man, I love him to death, being a very smart man, calculated this thing, that this will not favor me. So stay at home and take care of our 5 boys. He didn't tell her resign. Like, that's not how they do it. Oh. They'll not tell you, resign, I'm the head. No. A good man will tell you, the children need you. And, I'm the head, so I have to go out and make the money. And the money I'm even bringing in is more than what you're bringing, which wasn't true. But, of course, she wouldn't know that because she's the one giving her money to him as a sign of submission. So, they push the narrative of he that does not provide for his home is worse than an infidel. Like I said, they will take one scripture and run with it. And if you read the scripture, if you read that whole chapter, I don't have time. If you read that whole chapter, you realize that scripture had nothing to do with marriage. Nothing. It was simply how the church was being run. So it was Apostle Paul telling his son, Pastor Timothy, that you are a young boy. This is how you must do things. He treats an older person, an older woman as a mother, an older person as a father, younger sisters, the ladies as a younger sister with all purity. He was explaining and he said, then those that are widows, if they are widows indeed, let the church take care of them. But if any man has a widow but does not take care of his own widow, he's worse than an infidel. The men just took it, his own. That thing is not talking about marriage at all. What that has done, that has suppressed a lot of family income. God does not care who the money comes through. You know why? Because you are one. That's the thing about kingdom marriage. It favors both parties. 2 are better than 1 because they, not the man, not the woman, they have a good reward for their labor. So whether it is the man that is going out or the woman that is going out, both of you, the money belongs to both of you.